One Hope. It's a story of a trip into the cubicles of your offices. Milestones of this trip can be listed as follows: why it happened, how it happened, what you need to know about this trip, and what you still need to know about this trip. Why? A few months back, one of my friends in Boston left his company citing he was not paid enough. That made me look into retention, which is a big issue. In fact, in 2009, British companies lost around, say, 42 billion pounds with a retention rate of 10%. In 2010, retention rate was 24%. So just imagine the losses. So the objective of my research was to understand white-collar employee issues which can increase job satisfaction and reduce attrition. While I was working on this research, I realized that life at office is affected by factors also that go beyond the office cubicles. So I expanded my objective to say what makes a white-collar worker happier in life with primary focus on professional life. How it happened? Before I move ahead, I'd just like to say that this was a $0 project. Not a single dollar or a penny was spent on this research project. It all started with analysis on worldwide database on employee satisfaction. This data was obtained from multiple TNS offices. We also studied macroeconomic data and happiness indices obtained from OECD and Gallup. All this gave us a look into the problems part. For solutions, we looked at best HR practices obtained from, say, McKinsey, BCG, Hewitt, Randstad, etc. This helped us create hypotheses, which were then validated with the cross-continental survey. Based on the cross-continental survey, all this data that we had, we created 6 characters which helped us in visualizing these numbers. So I have been talking a lot about profession and happiness. So how? In fact, employment is one of the big factors affecting overall happiness. Others were, say, financial health and health. This was found out using a technique called Bayesian belief network that we used, which is basically a driver analysis. Now, reverse thought goes that in fact employment can also affect other factors like, say, financial health, leisure, etc., which in turn can impact overall happiness. So the impact of employment on overall happiness is much more than its direct effect. Now, moving into the office, what you need to know. These findings are based on the secondary data analysis that we ran. Based on multiple TNS databases, we created what we call as job satisfaction index. Based on that, we found that Turkish employees are satisfied the most, followed by Germans, Americans, Indians. The worst to score were, say, Britishers, Chinese, and the Japanese. Just a bit about methodology. The techniques that we used were, say, like partial least square regression and correspondence mapping. Moving into the 6 characters that I was talking about. Just a point, we also created a character called Dr. Chuck to help us deliver the solutions to these problems. And just a point, he is an avid tweeter. Hatsuto Moriyoko from Tokyo, Japan. He is overworked and is not even complaining. Is he one of the few or is he one of the many? Japanese score low on enjoyment that we found based on our analysis, which is quite contrary to other developed countries of the West. WHO papers also showed that the birth rates were reducing, long working hours, work-life problems were leading to a detached personal life. So Dr. Chuck tweets with his typical solutions. spend more time on leisure and with family, even on working days. In fact, HR departments need to promote work-life balance, give more access to work-life consultants, and give greater flexibility. Moving on to our second character, the beautiful Martha Stewart from London. She wants to quit her job. Let's see why. She's overworked, gets deadlines difficult to meet, and ends up burning midnight oil. According to BBC, 1/3 of Britishers have sleep problems, leading to daytime sleepiness and lack of freshness. Our analysis also showed that Britishers were dissatisfied on time allocated for work. So, Dr. Chuck tweets, Martha needs to have an honest discussion with her supervisor about time allocated to do the work. Also, she needs to discuss sleep patterns with consultants. Now, what you still need to know based on primary research, which was basically based on the cross-continental survey that we did. About the survey, it got around 433 responses worldwide, which had a more highly educated people like say masters and PhDs comprising of around 58%. It had a younger generation with around 54% of sample comprised of 21 to 30 age group. 60% of the sample was comprised of American, Indians, and Chinese. While I was working on this project, I realized that I was in a confusion whether should I go for a different survey for different countries or the same survey for everyone. Our analysis, while I was working on it, I realized that different countries have different problems, but HR departments were using similar solutions. A possible reason can be that similar work culture exists for white-collar workers. So I went for a single survey for the entire world. Now, the findings and characters you will hear are based on common themes. So a particular person may belong to a particular country, but that character is found everywhere in the world. So, do you think that your work will make the world a better place? Well, 59% believe so. Ethics training, 78% need so. So, Dr. Chuck tweets, companies need to project wider impact of their company's work that will add to pride and help in retention. Also, we found that there was a big mistrust with senior management. So we recommend, in fact, Dr. Chuck recommends ethics training and increase of exposure, maybe open door policy. We also recommend leadership building events which are not so prevalent but are desired by around 77%. This will create greater trust for tomorrow's management. A bit about methodology. This survey was launched in 6 languages, English, Japanese, French, German, Chinese, and Spanish, posted on around 150 plus forums or websites like say Facebook, LinkedIn, IEEE, Yammer, QQ for China, and Mixi for Japan. How to? A bit about again methodology. It's very important when you post a particular survey on a forum. It's also important to keep it in the discussion stream. If no one is responding, just like it or comment on it. It's also important to respond to comments at appropriate times. Let it ferment. Do not just jump when someone just comments on your post. Moving on to our third character, Alex from Europe. He was barely educated, just managed to get a job as a factory manager in Europe to lead a bunch of native workers and technicians. He resigned in 4 months. He blames it on country's culture. Is that so, really? Supervisor from a different country, 80% won't mind. Colleagues from different countries, 89% are comfortable. So, Dr. Chuck tweets, the dislike based on nationality is old. Are you comfortable working with colleagues not of my age? Well, 90% are. But Would you mind having a supervisor younger than you? Well, 47% won't mind. Others may. Supervisor lesser educated than you? Well, 44% won't mind. Others may mind. So, Dr. Chuck tweets, it's very important to consider experience and education while hiring someone into a supervisory position. In cases where there is educational superiority but younger in age, the supervisor needs to respect age differences. For people like Alex, they need to respect highly educated people and also put in more efforts to earn their respect. Social networks. Well, 52% would like to have something like internal social networks or say internal Facebook. Dr. Chuck tweets that this helps in creating a closely knit society which helps in retention. Education. 92% feel the need to update their skills. This shows the need for executive education program, maybe a tie-up with university or involvement on academicians. Travel. 55% are comfortable with their work-related travel, while 31% would like to have web conferencing. Well, this may be due to lack of, say, technical, well, I would say due to the technical glitches and also the lack of human interaction in case of, say, teleconferencing. So we recommend dual use of both these techniques. Flexibility, 84% prefer having flexible working hours. Adam Payson, he is a financial analyst in New York. Used to work in a currency trading department, was fired in 2008. Could I have retained a talented guy like Adam? Talking about firing, well, 57% of people were neutral on their company's firing policy. Firing affects morale and productivity, so we need honest exit interviews. The alternate solutions to firing can be, say, 6-month partial paid leave for, say, social work, and 40% were comfortable with this option. Other options can be, say, reduction in salary, working part-time in other non-competitive industries, reduction in working hours, and employee sharing between departments. One of the things HR departments often talk about is temporary worker, and 63% did not like this option, but we believe that's the next frontier to optimize, so maybe increase monetary incentives to make it attractive. Prakash Patel from Mumbai, India. Extremely dynamic, performance oriented, but recently changed his job. Why? Because company was neither promoting nor giving a salary increase. Could he be retained? Well, consider horizontal growth options, and in fact 47% would be willing to work in a different department. 65% would like to have internal job boards which in fact help in horizontal movements. Variable pay. 40% would like to consider this option, a great option for people like, say, Prakash Patel. Talking about benefits, health insurance came out to be the most important benefits for correspondents, followed by paid leave and variable bonus. We also recommend something called a point-based tier system, which is like, say, let's imagine you are playing a video game and you reach stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and you get multiple points with which you get some goodies. Put that same scenario into the case of benefits and you get the system. Moving on to our last character, Radha Singh. She is from Bangalore, India. A corporate lawyer, left her practice due to her pregnancy, joined 3 years back, but fell back due to her this lack of time. Is there a gender issue or a bias? Well, no. Gender bias is a thing of the past. 64% said so. But maternity does affect a woman's career. 65% said so. So we recommend maybe work and time flexibility while in maternity periods. Maybe maternity during early ages of the child, and paternity leaves. So finally, Dr. Chuck tweets, implement these recommendations, to retain your future generation of workers. Thank you.